It is the Sports Fix here on Flow FM, and it's time now for us to have a look at Speedway from across a very busy Easter weekend. A man who took off down south to go and have a look at some racing, which unfortunately didn't work out all that well. He's filling in for Big Bruce at the moment, who's in recovery mode. He'll be back with us soon, but his lad Lachie joins us on the line right now. Lachie Phillips, so welcome, mate. Normally you're doing the producing for this segment, but filling in for the old fella. How's he going?
Yeah, he's not too bad. So hopefully he will get out of isolation tomorrow, hopefully, and be back with us.
Excellent. Well, how are you going as well? You've had a long weekend.
Yeah, busy weekend. Got home at 2 a.m. in the morning, so long travel, 6 hours back to the bridge. So,
gee whiz. So down in Warrnambool, I believe. What was happening down there?
So there's some racing down there, the last round of the Easter Trail. So there was obviously night 1 at Avalon, night 2 at Mount. We went down to Mount, watched that, and then headed over to Warrnambool and got rained out. So
nothing you can do about the weather, I suppose. But well, let's go right back to the start. We've got racing galore over the Easter weekend to talk about. So we're going to take you all the way back to Good Friday. Friday the 15th, and we might start at Toowoomba. What was happening up there?
So, Jace, it was the last round of the USC round 6 and the Easter weekend round 1 seen Lachie McHugh, again, our favourite driver, get the chocolates up there for night 1 of the Easter Trail, obviously.
Good work. So, Lachie McHugh in the NQ7, other place getters there?
Jock Goodyear come home in second in the T22, and Cody Morosky back on the podium once again in the Q27.
Excellent. All right. We moved to Avalon. You mentioned this. This was the Easter Sprint Car Trail. It was night 1 of it. And, of course, the A1 was featured in the field and finished at the very front of the field, right?
That's correct, Jace. No one could stop Jamie Ville. He was unstoppable at Avalon. They tell me there, I didn't go, but they tell me it was a fast racetrack all night, hardly any passing. So even Jamie Ville couldn't pass the back markers when he caught them. So
right. Wow, the place getters there too, a couple of names that we would be familiar with, but I love the fact that we've got races from all over the country represented here. We've got the N20 in second and the V8 in third, and we're not talking about a V8 in terms of the engine. A Victorian 8 car ran in third spot, right? Yeah,
Bobby Daly, he's he's back on the podium. He's been getting there, but got a podium for that night in the V8, and Troy Little was one of the drivers coming down from New South Wales who stood out for me. Hasn't driven in the seat for a while, and he finished second behind current Australian champ Jamie Ville.
Okay. Now, down in WA, in fact, they had their own Easter Sprint Car Trail, did they not?
That's correct, and it was also the Mannington Toyota Series round 18 at Bunbury.
Right. So, night 1 there was on the Friday night at Bunbury. How did that go?
It was a good race, and that seen James Inglis get another win late in the season in the W26 for the Diamond Bay Motorsport team, and Callum Williamson coming home in second. He had a bad start to the season, but he finished it off very well in the W3. And Chris Coyle, he comes home in the third spot, and he won that Quickie Boys shootout a couple of weeks ago. So he finished the season strongly too.
Okay. So what was the plan here? Was there supposed to be a race at Bunbury and then a race at Mannington? Was that the plan?
Race at Perth as well. Yes, there was. So I think they only had 2 nights Easter Trail over there with Bunbury and Perth.
Right. How did the Perth race go?
That was, I think it was Saturday night over in Perth.
Yep. We'll get to that for Saturday, of course. But we'll talk about that one in a minute. Firstly, though, there was another race that we've got to talk about, and that was on the Friday in Mildura, right?
Yes, that was the Mainline Dynalog Dynamometers 360 All-Star Series Grand Final over there at Timmis Speedway, Mildura. I heard it was a pretty packed-out night for crowd-wise, and that sees young Todd Moore get his maiden sprint car feature win.
Well done, Todd. So second there, Rusty Hickman in the V40 and Mark Caruso, a name we'd be very familiar with. You'd know him quite well, Lachie, in the S33.
Yes, currently lives down there in Virginia, in Adelaide, South Australia, just across from the old Speedway track in Adelaide. So,
all right. The other race on Friday night was supposed to be down in Tasmania at Latrobe, but unfortunately that got rained out, right?
Yes, unfortunately they couldn't hold that meeting because of some precipitation there down at Latrobe. So I'm not sure, but I reckon it was their last meeting there too. So pretty disappointing for the Latrobe Speedway fans down there.
Yeah. We moved to Saturday, Easter Saturday, Archerfield, the second round there, and it was Stephen Lyons doing the winning.
Yeah, Lyonsy back to his winning ways in the Q83, back in the contract-driven car for Coral Motorsport, and he won over Kim Pittman in the Q59 and Aaron Kelly in the Q7.
All right.
So pretty good podium there.
Yeah, excellent podium there. Borderline Speedway, Mount Gambier, you mentioned you were heading down for this one, the second round there of the Easter Trail, and that A1 featured again, Jamie Veal, hard to beat.
Very hard, and some fog coming in before the A-Main, so we weren't sure if we were going to quite get the show in, and we had a bit of a delay with someone in the pits getting injured, so we were just a bit worried with the fog, but we ended up getting it done with Jamie Veal, obviously you said, winning there over that N20 in Troy Little again. So hasn't driven the car for a while, and he's come out and gone second in 2 nights in a row. And then Marcus Dumsney he started fairway back in this feature, started 6th, and he worked his way up to a podium. David Murcott was also in there too. He led most of the race, and his motor side on him. So, yeah.
Had an early Easter, so to speak.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, over to Perth again. This was round 2 of that Easter Trail over there for the Western Australians that we talked about earlier. Different winner here, though, at Maddington, and Daniel Harding got the job done in the W41.
Yes, he did. He's struggled to get a win, Daniel Harding, this season, but obviously finishes the season off with a win over James Inglis, who has had a good finish to the season. He's had a couple of wins, and that man, Dane Kingshot in the W2, he's strong up there too. That was the grand final of the Maddington Toyota Series as well.
Callum Williamson won that series back-to-back, I believe. Is that right?
That is correct. And interesting, he did have a not-so-good start to the season this year with blowing 2 motors at the start of the season. So did a good job to come back and back-to-back wins for that series. So takes a nice prize pull home.
Well done to him. And Jason Pride won the 360 Sprint Car Track Championships, I believe, and the joint state series between SA and WA.
That was the SA-WA 360 Sprint Car Series. I'm not sure what SA stands for, but I think it's Sprint Car Association.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah, Jason Pride getting the chocolates there. And he did also run on the first night in Bunbury and come second. So didn't quite have those results, just had his place second. So well done to Jason and the team.
Excellent work. Also on the Saturday, we had racing at Carrick, the Speedway finale there. And it was the T48 in front at the end of the night, a name we're familiar with on this segment.
Yeah, Nick Penno getting the chocolates again this season. He's been driving well down there in Tasmania, and Ethan Wiley coming home in second in the T15, and Jason Dawkins, one that's also been familiar on this segment in the T17, get that third place.
All right. And then on Chocky Day, Easter Sunday, it was Premier Speedway where you were hosting night 3 of the Easter Trail, and unfortunately it was a rain out, so I guess that means Jamie Veal keeps the A1 again.
He won the Warrnambool Track Championship.
Ah, right, okay.
And the Easter Trail over 2 nights, because he won both nights. He also wins the aggregate award for the Easter Trail. So unfortunately we couldn't get the night in because of rain. I was out in the infield for this one, and had to take shelter in one of the push cars for a little bit.
I'll bet you want to make sure you down there you've got the thermals on and the rain jacket, I reckon.
So, unfortunately, this wasn't sea mist.
Never mind. But it is what it is. Nothing you can do about it, mate. You can't plan for the weather, I guess, can you?
No, unfortunately not. So that was the last sprint car meeting down at Premier Speedway as well. So unfortunately, didn't quite get it in.
All right. We do have some other racing to come, but before we get to it, there was some other racing on Easter Sunday as well. Up in Toowoomba, Night 3 there. It was the VSC Grand Final, right?
Yeah, the USC Grand Final of the Ultimate Sprint Car Championship Queensland. And that seen Jock Goodyear get the chocolates for the overall championship in that one. But the result, Ian Madsen in the NS4 takes the win in that one over our man Luke Oldfield in the Q17 and Jock Goodyear rounding out the podium in that one.
Excellent. So another podium finish for Jock Goodyear and the champion overall. Also racing at Mildura again, the 360s this time. The Nationals there taking the track, and Rusty Hickman in the V40 getting the job done.
Yeah, Rusty coming off of a broken leg before the Classic, couldn't race the Classic, and he jumps back into the V40 and takes a win in the Easter Nationals up there at Timmis Speedway.
Good work to him. So also on the podium there, Ben Morris in the S3, and rounding out the podium there, Cameron Waters, I think, in the V6. Is that right?
That's correct. The V8 supercar driver rounding out the podium in that one. Good drive for Ben Morris too, finishing second. Well
done to him. And there is some racing still to come. We're nearly at the end of the season, but what have we got lined up next week, Lachie?
So next week, there is Speedway back at Eastern Creek. Unfortunately, they couldn't run a couple of weeks ago because the venue had to be handed back to the government to finish it off.
Yep, they didn't have any toilets, apparently.
So, yeah, unfortunately, spectators could not go to the toilet when they had the opening show a couple of weeks ago, but all good now, and they'll race the New South Wales Sprint Car title this weekend coming.
All right. Also racing at Avalon, I believe, on the Saturday. Is that right?
That is the H&C Trucking Limited Sprint Car Series Round 6 on Saturday, and they will head to Simpson on the Sunday as well, Jace, for the Round 7 of that series and the Grand Final of that series. That's the limited sprint cars.
All right. That's what's in store for us next week. But just a window to what's to come. There is a bit more racing into the back end of April and early May as well. So I think we've got the Australian Sprint Car titles to be held on the 30th of April. Is that right?
That is correct, Jace. It's been a while since this one, so looking to keep his title is Jamie Veal. Hopefully he can go up to Archfield Speedway and defend that crown. He's been holding it for, I don't know, how many years now since COVID hit.
Yeah, and we're wearing it with distinction too. But night 1 on the 30th and then on the 1st of May, night 2, is that right?
That is correct, Jay. So 2-night show up at Archerfield. Should be a good one. There's 49 cars nominated and some big names in the field, including Matt Eagle from SA and Jesse Attard up there in the New South Wales 53. Jock Goodyear will be up there as well. Lockie McHugh, our man. Luke Oldfield. Daniel Pesca also heads up there. So that will be a big meeting with some big drivers. Borders are all open, so a lot of interstate cars will be going up there.
Good stuff. All right, there's lots of racing to come still. That'll mark pretty much the end of the season, won't it, May 1st?
Yep, that will pretty much round out the season. These 2 more weeks left, and that will include the Speedway season, and we'll be back sort of early September sometime to start it all again, Jay.
Good stuff. Well done, Lachie. Great job. Our best to Bruce. We'll catch up with him later in the week for River Murray football. Until then, mate, you take care, all right?
Thanks, Jay. Thanks, everyone, for listening as well.